This is part 1 of a 2-part video about the JackBord RGB color sensor. In this video, we're going to introduce the sensor and how to connect it to the JackBord. If you want to skip straight ahead to the part 2 where we use the sensor, you can do so by going to www.jackbord.org and entering the TMT code TMT3 NDV at the search prompt and press enter. This will take you directly to part 2. As you can tell from its name, this sensor is designed to detect color. So for example, if I put a red object in front of the sensor, you can see that on the Wii program in the top left-hand corner, the red bar, which is the amount of red light that the sensor is detecting, goes up. And likewise, if I put a green object in front of the sensor, the green bar goes up because there's more green light being detected. And lastly, if I put a blue object in front, the blue bar goes up because it's detecting more blue than the other colors. If I put a yellow object in front of it, both the red and the green values go up, and this is because the color yellow is made up of red and green. And the yellow bar on the left-hand side is the amount of overall light that the sensor is seeing. And if I flip it upside down and turn it towards the lights, this goes very much higher. So the purpose of the JackBord RGB color sensor is to allow the JackBord to detect colors. And this can be useful in robots, for example to sort out colored tokens, or to look for objects of a certain color, or even follow a line. The main parts of the sensor are shown in this photograph. First of all, we have the sensor on the far left. This is where the RGB elements are that detect the colors. Moving to the right, we've got the TMT code for the sensor, which is on the Universal Sensor Interface. The sensor has a number of pins, the main ones being the red power supply pin, which needs to be 5 volts, the green ground pin, the blue serial clock pin, the white serial data pin, and the LED control pin up the top. Looking at the lower image, you can see the RGB sensor in the center, and slightly below that you can see the LED light. The purpose of the LED light is to illuminate the subject whose color you're trying to detect, and the LED input can be used to turn the LED light on and off from the JackBord. As you may already know, the white light that we see every day is actually composed of several different colors, which is where the rainbow comes from. For electronics and robotics, we rely on the fact that most colors that we can see can be created from just 3 base colors: red, green, and blue. If we mix these colors, as shown in the picture, you can see that we derive other colors, such as yellow, when we combine red and green. And as you can see at the center, when we combine all 3 colors, we end up with white. At the center of the sensor is a small IC, or integrated circuit, that has a number of light sensors on it. These are sensitive to ambient light, or normal light, red, green, and blue. And by giving you these values of red, green, and blue, the sensor can then tell you what color of light is falling on it. So for example, if it's getting equal amounts of red and green, then you can determine that yellow is the color. The sensor uses a special protocol called I2C to communicate with the JackBord on port D. To make it easier to connect the sensors to the JackBord, we're going to locate it at port D and bolt it on using an M4 nut and bolt. The I2C port of the JackBord is located in port D. Now we're going to connect the sensor to the JackBord on port D. First, take a green wire and connect it to the ground pin on the JackBord, and then to the green ground pin on the sensor. Next, we take a red wire and connect it from the 5-volt power supply pin on the port D to the red 5-volt power supply pin on the sensor. Now take a blue jumper wire and connect it from the blue pin on the sensor to port pin D4 of the JackBord. and then take a white jumper wire and connect it from the white pin on the sensor to port pin D5 of the JackBord. And finally, we're going to use port pin D1 of the JackBord to control the LED. So the jumper wire goes from D1 to the LED pin on the sensor. Now that you've made your connections, take a moment to compare what you've got to these images and make sure that they match. It doesn't matter if your wires are different colours, the main thing is that they go to the correct pins. And don't forget, you can always pause these images to take a longer look. In part 2, we're going to look at how to use the sensor. You can jump directly to the part 2 video by going to www.jackbord.org and at the search prompt enter the TMT code TMT3NNDV and press enter. This will take you directly to the part 2 video. In the meantime, if you want any other information or are just curious, you can visit us on www.jackbord.org.